the violence in your eyes and it's a silent fighting. I see the lies in their mind and you can't decide cause they only blinding. Go away and go from.
Hi guys, welcome and welcome back. Those of you who are new here and those of you are my returning subscribers, you're welcome. So today we're going to be discussing long distance relationships. So we're going to be discussing basically what are the challenges of long distance relationship, how do you think is the best way to preserve long distance relationship? And for today we have our pro relationship tutor Elijah.
I beg you.
We have Elijah on the show today. Elijah, you're welcome.
Thank you
It's so
for having
lovely to
me.
have you here today.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being here.
You're
So
welcome.
I'm going to ask you a few questions, Elijah, and I just want to hear what you think. What's your point of view on
Okay.
this area concerning long distance relationship?
Yeah. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Okay. So what do you think is you can say has been the most or is the most difficult part of being in a long distance relationship?
I think the most difficult thing about the long distance relationship has to do with communication.
Mhm.
Communication is actually key
Yeah.
for every relationship, either long distance or short distance
Yeah.
or middle distance.
Yeah.
Communication is
Communication
actually
is
the yeah. So if the communication doesn't go in line with themselves, if
Yeah.
it doesn't sync, then the relationship is going nowhere.
Okay, so do you think that long distance relationship can be preserved by communication? You think that it can be preserved by
When
communication?
there is constant communication, you guys update yourselves, you
Mm.
guys talk about everything, you
Yeah.
spend time together, then I think it's going to be super
Okay, so the point is try to communicate as much as possible.
as much as possible.
Like update them, oh, I'm going to the bank, okay, let's go to the bank
Yeah,
together, that kind of thing.
let's
Makes
shower
sense.
together.
He's the expert, you guys.
I'm joking.
So like my next question is it always the distance? Like the issue with long distance relationship now, is it always the distance that's the issue, or that you can say that there are some other factors that can contribute to the end of a long distance relationship?
Is it always the distance?
Like is it always the fact that the two people in the relationship don't get to see themselves as much as do you get?
I mean, being in a long distance relationship is a huge sacrifice.
That's very true.
It's a huge sacrifice
Yeah.
that both parties have, come together to agree and tell themselves, we know this is not going to be easy. I know this is not going to be easy, but can we try as much as possible to make this work?
You have to come
Okay?
somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, you have to find the balance in the middle. So, distance, once you have agreed that this is what you guys are doing, I think the distance may not really be the main challenge, although it might be challenging for some few reasons that I don't want to mention.
Mention it.
I don't want to mention.
Okay.
So, but I think distance is not really the main thing. I think the main thing is your agreement on communication, the way you see things, the way you handle situations when you have issues, the way you do it, and then your commitment to yourselves, your constant reminder of the fact that you are doing this together and why we are doing it together. I think that plays the major role there. So it's not really about the distance, but it's about both of you. Yeah.
Okay, which leads me to my next question.
Yeah.
So, do you think that love language has any part to play in the breakage or continuation of a long distance relationship? Let me give you a practical example. I have a partner whose long distance relationship is physical touch, for an example. Do you understand?
Love language.
That's his love language, for an example. And then maybe my love language is like maybe act of service or what? Let's just say act of service, something like that. So coupled with the fact that I can't be able to speak my partner's love language because of the fact that
They're not there physically
together. So do you think that also contributes to long distance relationship?
talking about the physical touch and all, I think that when you know your partner, when you know what the partner needs, what the love language is, then I think unless the distance is too far, I think you can always find a way to.
How far is too far?
How far is too far is a very big question. I don't think we should. Yeah, but I think love language has everything to do with relationship.
Yeah.
Aside physical touch.
Physical touch is a love language.
It's a love
So
language,
why aside physical touch?
but you know it can't be possible. So you have to sacrifice that. I think for the meantime.
Yeah.
But then it depends on how long you can hold yourself.
Okay, so how long is too long to be in a long distance relationship?
This is the second time you're asking this question. How long is too long?
How long is too long to be in a long distance relationship?
I think it's peculiar to individuals.
Actually.
It's peculiar to individuals. It's peculiar to how how they've been doing it and how it's been working for them. What works for you might not work for me, and definitely what works for me may not work for you. So I think it's peculiar to the individuals. Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
You want to ask me a question?
I wanted to, but I remember we were on a show, and I'm the guest.
No, you can ask.
So how long is too long for you?
No, I feel like it's the same thing. I feel like I'll steal your answer with that now. I feel like it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Which thing depends.
So I want to know about your personal.
My personal.
Yeah, your personal one.
I can say maybe 1 year.
1 year.
I think we can do 1 year. I think I can do 1 year in the long distance relationship.
So if your partner has the physical touch love language, how do you handle that?
That's when what you talked about. That's when what you talked about will come inside. Like, we'll have to understand that it's inevitable at this point in time. We have to be in this. Our relationship has to go through this long distance thingy. So it's left for the it's left for the part. We'll definitely have to communicate it. So are we doing this or are we not doing it? Do you get?
Yeah.
So if we're committed to doing it, then I think we can stay here. I can stay here.
Should I do like an Indian?
So at what point do you know that it is over? Like it's not working. Let's all go our perfect and be our different ways.
I mean, at what point? I think it starts by the little foxes that spoil the vine. The little things that you ignore.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to communication. I mean, let me say you guys are used to waking up to a good morning message from your spouse, from your partner, and probably at some point maybe he writes you a full paragraph before, and now he cuts it short, and then to some point you stop seeing the good morning text or the long passage and you just say, "Hey babe, good morning, how are you?" You know something is definitely off. And at that point, I think it's at that point that you both need to come together and talk things out. Because remember, we are doing a long distance relationship. So you have to talk every single thing out.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. But I feel like that's the thing that holds for long distance relationship. Communication.
Yeah.
Because like you cannot sing yourself. That's really the only thing that's like tangible. So like you have to do it very well.
Intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be intentional about it.
Yeah.
You have to know that this is what you are doing. And so when that kind of thing happens, and then you notice it, and then you refuse to address it, or it keeps repeating itself, you just know that one of you is off. Just it starts gradually, and then it gets to a point that you can't control it anymore. And I think this thing works differently for different people.
Okay.
For my person, I can say I'm a tough guy when it comes to making decisions. I take my time, but once I've made that decision and I say this is what I want or this is it, I don't think I can do much to help the matter. So, but I think when you notice something and then you start addressing it immediately, you're trying to get things sorted out, and then not straight. Straight means you want to argue it out. Just get things sorted out. Help yourselves. As much as you can and for as long as you can. until both of you can come to an agreement and say, I don't think this will work anymore. I think for the sake of, let's just
leave it be.
on mutual agreement. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good.
Thank you.
So, what do you think, or let me put it this way, what part does trust have to play in like a long distance relationship?
What part does trust?
Does trust have to play? Trust holds for every relationship.
Of course.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You cannot be with a partner you don't trust. Doesn't make sense. But like, do you think that it holds more significance in like a long distance relationship because of the fact that people don't see yourself as much, so you're just going to have to like.
I mean, trust, as much as communication is important, I think trust is as much important as communication.
So you put them on the same level?
Yeah, they're on the same level.
Okay.
Because I don't know what you are doing personally with someone you don't trust. You do not trust this person, and then you are there with, what are you doing there? You are playing. Yeah. When you're ready to be serious, you've got to trust your partner. You've got to really, really put your trust in your partner. So I think trust goes a long way. And the thing is, at some point, you might have to come to a point of test where you have to test your trust in your partner. You get me.
I don't understand anything.
Let's assume you understand.
Okay.
So I think at some point you have to just, it has to be tested. It's on both parties. Don't it's not me.
Okay. I want to really understand this trust.
Yeah.
Testing of the trust of your partner.
Yeah.
So can you like help us to give us like maybe a practical example of how on how you can try and test if this person actually really.
I'm not going to give you a personal example. I'm going to give you a general example. Yeah. A general example. I mean, you as a person, myself as a person, you are in a long distance relationship here. You always meet people who like probably, and I think this is the most annoying thing about relationship here. I think when you have a partner whom you see ticks 80% of your box. Okay, ticks up to 80% of your box, and then you are cool with it, and then there's still this 20% that you are still thinking of how to get, and then you meet a partner out there. You meet another person out there, and then all the person has to give to you, is that 20% that has been missing. So I mean, you tend to forget about that 80%. And then value that 20% so much that sometimes you miss out on the 80% and run after the 20%. Okay?
I hear you.
so but it always happens, and sometimes it's not always like that. I think sometimes different things happen. So I think you will definitely meet people who have better charisma, who have better looks, dress, and intelligence, everything you're looking for. You might possibly see someone out there who is better and who is in close proximity, who is around you. So I mean, it takes you now, your conscience, your mind, your self-control, and every other thing you have put together in you to tell yourself, all the indaboski you have. You have to put it together and tell yourself, I know you've got this and I appreciate it, but I'm committed to this.
Makes sense. That was really nice. Okay. So my next question is, which is usually first? Is it like the emotional drifting or like the physical drifting?
Which is usually first? Either the physical or the emotional.
Drifting or emotional drifting.
Emotional, to me personally, I tell you, is the emotional drifting. Because once you don't feel that thing, that attachment anymore, once you feel like you're off, you're cutting off, it has to do with your emotions, your psychology and all. Once that is off, my sister, there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay, you're married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's emotional.
It's emotional.
Because we are not physically there together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
cannot say, okay, you're having.
yeah.
Okay, even if you would have fight, I feel like it would be more of emotional
Yeah.
damage. Yeah. For long distance relationship.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this question is like, what do you think that with failed long distance relationships, like, what do you think that like could be done differently to preserve like long term?
Forget about long term.
Okay.
Can I bring you into an intercontinental long distance relationship?
Okay.
Can we drift into that a little? Where you have time difference, like huge time difference. How do we balance that? Like I think we should a little bit go into that.
You go into it.
I should go into it.
Yeah.
Now it's a very big challenge. Then it depends on how you guys are managing it. But I think it's a very big challenge. And at some point I feel one partner will be drained. One partner will be drained. So yeah. So if you are going to do something long distance and has to do with being intercontinental, staying in different continents, I think it shouldn't really be for so long. I think it shouldn't be for so long because at some point someone is going to be drained. Yeah, that is just my little
input.
input.
Is really draining.
Yeah.
Because like time depends. At this time when you want to talk to your partner, maybe your partner is still sleeping.
Yeah. Or at work or this or that. Yeah.
How do you actually balance it?
Yeah.
But that's where there's a very big. But it works for people.
Please show me.
Okay. Yeah, I was even going to ask that. Do you think that actually long distance relationship actually works?
It works.
It works. You're confident.
Works. I'm confident that it works.
Yeah, with right communication, with
right mindset, right everything. Communication. You have to do that thing. Yes. COMM communicate. Okay, I think we have come to the end of our session for today. Thank you so much, Elijah. You're welcome.
Really appreciate you for your time. Thank you so much.
You are always welcome.
So fam, we will be having another session of working on because we don't. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, say bye.
Bye.